Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwanner and welcome to Selling Power TV. Today we have the pleasure of meeting with Jeff Seeley. He is the CEO and owner of Karoo International. Welcome, Jeff.
Gerhard, it's great to be here.
So is there room for spirituality in leadership and in business?
Well, absolutely. And let's first define spirituality, not as a religious connotation. And what really is spirituality is, and you've talked about it a lot when you get into your mindset science in terms of where we are, is spirituality allows people to free their mind to really get to that peak performance level. It clears out the crap, so to speak, of allowing people to feel included. It increases creativity. It does so many different positive things, and it's that feeling of one unit that helps it come together. So it's not about religion, it's more about the feeling of togetherness, process, and lack of alienation, and that's what really gets people excited about spirituality.
So in other words, if I use the term correctly, to me what bubbles up is the word essence. So if we look at the essence of the enterprise or the essence of humanity, is that what you're talking about?
It does, and it also allows people to quiet their mind from all the other things that are going on. And the minute you get your mind quiet, it's amazing what happens in the creativity side of things. And it's different ways that people express themselves in terms of business creativity. That's what changes the performance.
Right. Because I just listened to a podcast from Lewis Howe where he interviews a monk. And he's a business guru now. And he said, the most important thing to learn is how to breathe, because that stays with you no matter where you are. So when you are in the here and now moment, in the present moment, and you're aware of your breathing, then you're aware of everything else. But the moment you're not aware of your breathing, you're not aware of anything else.
Well, it's interesting because you think back to, it's an 80s, flick, but you look at the Karate Kid.
Yes.
And what was the first thing that the master taught him was to bring, not Western philosophy into it, was Eastern philosophy of how you breathe. Breathe in, breathe out, wax on, wax off. Mm-hmm. Well, we get so wrapped up in technology, we get so wrapped up in all these things, the space in our mind that is occupied by that creativity standpoint doesn't shrink, but it gets pressured so much by everything that's going around it, the overstimulus of what happens, whether it's something, just taking those moments, what's the first thing we do? We pick up our phone. It's not, we have this crack addiction to technology, not this crack addiction to, I need to breathe, or I need to be thinking about my world and what's going on around it, not all the pressures of doing my job, whatever that is, whether it's in sales, marketing, engineering, whatever it is.
So what you're saying is that a good leader is not living in the past. They're not preoccupied with the future. They're in the present moment and lead based on what the moment requires.
Leading in the moment, and then also leading in a way for how their team is going to consume their leadership. So what that means is effectively, we in everything in how we interact now with each other, we choose how we consume that. It's a user-driven format. Amazon, Google, all those things are user-driven formats. And leadership is thinking hierarchically of 1930s, 1940s. Now it's evolved a little bit, but the reality is it's still a top-down, as we talked about earlier. So how do we now make our leadership understand that people are going to consume it differently, and we have to then deliver it differently? And for each person, it's different. And one of the things that we really have to do as a leader is open the window to individuals' minds to stop the negative self-talk, to stop all those things, to make them more successful, help them be more successful.
Yeah, and I want to bring in the leader that we have interviewed and done a cover story, Bill McDermott, CEO of SAP. And his belief system is that everybody has inner magic, and it takes one to know one. So if you believe that everybody is born with something special, that is a powerful leadership tool, because then as the leader you can affirm the gifts that other people bring to the job.
And the next step of that is then how do you help them release it? And Bill does a great job as an aspirational and inspirational leader in terms of getting his organization to do that. And that's really the key, because it doesn't get into cascading.
Right.
Everyone believes that, because Bill has been talking about that long before he was a CEO.
Right.
And that's where great leadership really changes the game. Managers can't do that. Like this, right now we look at it, 100% of the managers are in negative to uncertain position with their organization because they're managers. Leaders are ones who get people to quiet their mind, to release that inner magic and that inner creativity, not only for themselves, but then also for the organization, and it becomes a double win.
So what does Karu offer in terms of leadership training?
We actually have something that we really spend a lot of time in, is basically understanding how to coach to high performance mindset. And we get into how to understand and help people motivate themselves. Everyone's walking around going, my people aren't motivated, or I need somebody to come in and fix their motivation. And the reality is people are not motivated because we're not accessing what motivates them. And we're not even asking them what motivates them. We're just saying, you need to be motivated, or we think it's money, or we think it's time off, or whatever it is. The reality is we get into how do you understand self-motivation, and how do people become self-motivated? The second thing is how do we start coaching people and developing people to let them be their very best? A lot of times we have this bad coaching model of, we understand the problem, we create an action plan, we create action steps, and the next thing you know, we agree on a plan, and then we talk to each other 3 weeks from now, and I say, how'd that go? And you think it went great, and I'm thinking, man, your performance hasn't changed a bit. Whereas in reality, it really comes down to that collaboration of, how do I help you release that inner magic, quoting Bill, how do I help you release that inner magic to be the very best you can be?
How can people learn more about Karu?
Come on out to Karu.com, and we've got a whole area on leadership, and we're actually going to be releasing here a great study on the whole concept of spirituality and motivation and how it all comes together. And I think being the father of peak performance mindset, I think you're going to find that it really ties very closely into what you're doing. And now we've kind of really got it, frankly, it's truly a statistically valid. We hired a whole bunch of academicians and have them do the surveys, and we're really excited about where that's going. And that'll be released here in the next 3 weeks or so on our website to get people to see it.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.